Let's bring on board Soni Patnaik to understand where are the markets headed. A very good afternoon to you, Soni. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's talk about the benchmark indices. We scaled that Mount 21,000 when it comes to the Nifty in the week. But will this run up continue coming in for the Nifty? And not just Nifty, let's talk about Nifty Bank as well, given the fact that a lot of policy actions also kind of makes this particular sector jittery, isn't it?
Right. Thank you, Cheryl and Srishti, and thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon to all. Of course, if you look at the broader outlook for Nifty, it continues to be bullish. There's this bullish undertone. We do see the indices, they are an overbought zone, and historical data suggests that whenever such overbought zones have been approached, there has been a correction. Maybe if we were to witness that corrective dip in this current scenario, it'd be easier to define your risk-reward ratio. But this corrective dip can only get confirmed, only if Nifty is breaking that 20,800 in spot. So until then, I think it's wise that you ride the upside momentum. And it looks like, Bank Nifty is going to be the one which will lead the next leg of rally. I think today we saw some profit booking during the day, but the last half an hour, the way the indices have picked up, especially in Bank Nifty, it's clear, it's quite clear, there's no such exhaustion in Bank Nifty as of now, and with very good base of 46,500, Bank Nifty is set to take out its like 47,500 plus levels in the coming week. So it's quite clear that Bank Nifty may be outperforming Nifty for the moment. And it's quite nice to see, you can pick out stocks which has underperformed all this while. They're at the cusp of fresh breakouts, especially in banking stocks. So I think that's the overall outlook. Broader outlook remains bullish. If we get any corrective thing, I think it's even better and enjoyable that, you just ride the upside momentum.
Okay, so Bank Nifty is expected to outperform in the week ahead. But Soni, just wanted to understand from you that given the movement that we have seen in the banking space this particular week, all the private or be it PSU banks, both have participated well, but especially on the Friday session, the private banks were seen to be holding themselves in comparison to the PSU banking rally. So going ahead, which segment between these two one should be watching out for?
I think, Srishti, it makes sense that we've seen that PSU Bank give out rally. It was the private banks that were underperforming for a very, very long time. It is time where, it has been leading. HDFC Bank especially has led that private banks out of the woods. And you can see fresh breakouts coming in Axis. There's, we've even seen ICICI Bank, Kotak Bank, and to some extent IndusInd Bank also outperforming. So definitely, I think it's better that you switch to private banks, which are at the cusp of a fresh breakout, and you can pick out these stocks. I think one of the best outperforming stock from this current space could be ICICI Bank.
Right. We also have Rahul Shah joining us. A very good welcome aboard your trades, actually, Rahul, and talk about what's exactly happening in the markets. We've seen a sharp rally come in for the benchmark indices. However, broader markets are actually underperforming, while you had Nifty actually scaled at 21,000 very briefly in Friday's trading session. Take us through where do you think is the leadership now lying when it comes to the markets? Do you think the banks will support the up move going ahead?
So hi, I think fantastic move on the markets post last week, what we saw on the results front from the politics, and I think the markets have been hitting a new high post that. So I feel that the markets will continue to do well, and your specific question on the financials, if you look at the banking stocks which have moved up, and I feel that there's a lot of value which was in the most of the banking stocks, and I think they were underperformer in last 6 to 8 months if you look at vis-a-vis the broader markets. So I think we've seen back to these large cap names like HDFC, ICICI, Axis, and State coming into the focus, and we've seen this stocks rallying. And in today's session also, if you look at it, they've been leading from the front. So I feel that still large caps will continue to do well. And if we look at it broadly, I think mid cap and small caps in last 1 year, if you look at it, they've done much more higher and vis-a-vis the comparison with the large cap indices. So my sense is I think mid caps might take a breather or maybe a sideways, and large cap will lead. So there's a lot of comfort in terms of valuation in the large cap stocks vis-a-vis mid cap and small caps. So I feel that just to give you a perspective, that Nifty still at forward is trading at Nifty in terms of P last 10-year average of what we looking at 18.3 times vis-a-vis in the overall mid caps and small caps. So I think large cap will continue to do well going forward, and I think financials is what we've been very overweight at this juncture.
And Soni, let me come to you and let's talk about the PSU sector in the week gone by. What a spectacular rally. The PSE index has actually witnessed 6% up move, and amazingly, one of the top gainers on the PSE index in the week gone by was LIC. In fact, let's talk about insurance space as a whole. No doubt we've seen the PSU sector actually getting a thrust also from the state election verdict as well. But insurance space, we are seeing actually a renewed vigor in that particular space. Do you think that will continue going ahead?
Cheryl, we can see some momentum. It won't be, of course, all the stocks from the entire pack. It would be handpicked, cherry-picked, like the best ones that can outperform. At the top of my mind, I can actually remember SBI Life giving out a very good breakout. Technical derivatives data quite strong. It is continuing with the momentum. I think it has formed a very strong base of about 1420, and going ahead, it should be crossing 1550 odd levels. So that SBI Life could be one of the top performing, outperforming all its other peers, and the second could be LIC Housing Finance also from the other space. So definitely I think the sector has some momentum, but it shouldn't be that all the picks, all the stocks continuing that momentum. I think it's best that we pick out stocks which are actually giving you that momentum. You have that long base, you've got a very strong base, and valuations add in and everything else that can fit in the basket to support the data. I think that's how we should go ahead.
Okay, Rahul, coming to you, because the upcoming week is going to be indeed a crucial one with respect to the global cues, and we had that FOMC meet lined up as well as US CPI data will be out. What are your expectations on that front? Because the RBI policy that just went by, though we did see that the repo rate was unchanged, but the tone was quite hawkish. So what factors will you be looking out for when it comes to the FOMC meet, and what's your expectation on the global markets? Because Indian markets were scaling to new highs, but the global markets were too supportive in this particular rally. So what's your outlook on this?
So I think two things to it. One is obviously we've seen that global markets also rallied, and if you look at especially Dow has been rallying and just away from few points to further its new highs. So I think obviously post that obviously election results come were positive for Indian markets and has moved ups. And we've seen the FIs turning back into the markets after a long time, and we saw in month of November we had a positive numbers, and December also did give a positive numbers from the FI perspective. Secondly, now coming back to the FOMC side, I think if we just continue from the last time's statements and continue towards it, and suppose that we saw the rally in the market, so I think this time also should be a status quo, and view on what how going forward their view will be going forward. And secondly, most important, the interest rates scenario and inflation data, inflation target what they had given, and if it remains under the target which they had spoken about last time. And I think if that is the case, then I think we'll look at into it where in what time when we'll be having a rate cuts in 2024. So I think that's crucial to understand, and obviously the outlook on overall economy. This is all we've been looking for from the FOMC meet.
All right, let's put the spotlight then on Soni. Which are the stocks that one should watch out for in the coming week? Because we've seen a lot of sectors actually move in tandem, some of them the other way around. So where should one focus and put their money in?
Two topics. Like I said, I think it's quite better since Bank Nifty is about to lead the next leg of rally. So my topic comes out to be ICICI Bank. So ICICI Bank is on the cusp of giving that monthly breakout. Last 2 to 3 months, constantly facing a resistance around 1,010 odd levels. It has finally broken above that level. It's closed. So I think it's going to lead a fresh rally from current levels. Keep a stop loss of 990. You can see targets of 1,040, 1,060 plus levels also coming in the few coming days. And the second pick would be from the auto ancillary Motherson Sumi. So I think Samvardhan Motherson, the AKA name. So it's given a good breakout as of today's closing with good long build positions. So you can buy the stock with keeping a stop loss of 92.8 and targets of 100.
Okay, Samvadna Madasan as well as ICICI Bank on Sony's radar. But Rahul, coming to you, because this particular week we already had your take that you are bullish on the large cap space. But from the broader market, we had seen stocks like insurance, fertilizers, specialty chemicals. They were all zooming. What's the outlook and what's the sector that is on your radar where you believe that could lead the rally in the times ahead?
So I think obviously financials has been running, and still in next week also I feel that I think PSU banks as well as the private sector banks will lead the rally, and especially private banks. I think SDFC and Kotak have been just sluggish for quite some time, and I think they're just back into the green in terms of the year till date. So I think there's a lot of room for these two stocks to move from here. That's one side of it. Secondly, I think IT space. I think again IT could be in a momentum. I feel that especially the large cap IT names again should be back to in momentum. So I think Infi, Wipro, TCS, HCL Tech, all four should be back in the momentum. So I think these two sectors looks quite promising from me from these levels.
All right, on that note, thank you so much, Soni, as well as Rahul, for joining us on the special edition of Your Trades to discuss what should one watch out for when it comes to various sectors and especially the markets. Yes, right now, if you see a lot of them are backing the large cap space, and with a sharp run up in the broader indices, there is now looks like a case for actually them to correct and the money to shift to large caps.